Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Raja Umar on my channel RU Speaks, and today we are going to talk about the services and contributions of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan towards the revival of the Muslims in the subcontinent just after the War of Independence. So, what he did for the Muslims and what were his services and how he tried his level best to get the Muslim rights back to them through the development of the better relations with the British, and you can say he tried himself for the sake of revival of Muslims in the subcontinent and Muslim politics in the subcontinent. So here we are going to start today, and just before the start, I request to subscribe my channel RU Speaks so that you may be able to get the latest of the videos over here regarding your syllabus, and you will be able to prepare yourself really very well. So these are the topics we have already done with it, and today we are going to talk about the services of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. So here we are, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. He was born in 1817 and he died in 1898. So if we talk about his services, that is the major question we get most of the time, and at times we get the 14 marks question because his services were a lot. So out of those, they take one as the level 3, and you are asked that whether that service of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan was the most important for the Muslims of the subcontinent or not. So anyways, we will be looking at the questions related to Sir Syed Ahmed Khan in the end of this particular topic. So first of all, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan is our topic, and we are going to talk about the political services of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. First of all, what he tried. As you know that after the War of Independence, it was thought by the British that the Muslims were the sole responsible for the breaking out of the War of Independence. So what was the first important thing Sir Syed Ahmed Khan wanted to do? To improve or to develop the British-Muslim relationships. So these relations were really very important, as you know that the Muslims had surrendered, and we know that the whole of the subcontinent had gone into the hands of the British Empire. So it means that now there was no other option available for the Muslims to be siding with the British, as now they had accepted them as their rulers. So this is how we are moving now. Now number one, that how he tried to improve the relations between the British and the Muslims. He wrote the pamphlet, The Loyal Mohammedans of India. Mohammedans means the Muslims, and loyal means they were loyal towards the British. So gave a detailed account of the loyal services of the Muslims towards the British, and named various Muslims who had shown particular loyalty to the British and saved their lives of the British during uprising of War of Independence. Not only defended Muslims from British accusations that they were disloyal, but also called on them to end their hostility towards the Muslims. He tried to convince the British that the Muslims were really very much loyal towards the British, and the British had to stop the hostility towards the Muslims. Number two, he wrote another essay that was in Urdu, actually the Asbab-e-Baghawat-e-Hind, the causes of the Indian revolt, that what were the causes that the Indians, whether the Muslims or the Hindus, they rose against the British in War of Independence. Pointed out causes of the War of Independence: poor management of India by the British, grabbing lands by East India Company, forced conversions by Christian missionaries through the you can say according to the consent of the British, as they had brought those Christian missionaries from Britain to India. So pamphlet helped convince the British that they were wrong to blame the uprising on Muslims. So the Muslims were not the only ones to got against the British, but all communities of the subcontinent, they all were equally responsible for breaking out of the War of Independence. Some British readily decreased hostility and they became sympathized because of the writings of Sir Syed Khan over here. So it means that this act of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan improved the relations that the British, they became less hostile towards the Muslims over here in the subcontinent. So, number 3, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan removed the Nadarat misunderstanding. British thought this was a sort of insult of them, that they were declared as Nadarat by the Muslims. In one sense, it is said that Sir Syed Ahmed Khan cleared that the meaning of this particular word, Nadarat, is helper. On the other hand, what the ulamas were saying, the British, Nadarat means impure, napak. So the British, they were thinking that they were declared napak or nadarat or impure by the Muslim scholars. So they started feeling it like their insult. But Sir Syed Ahmed Khan removed this misunderstanding in the minds of the British, that this particular word nadarat means helper. Thus, term reflected the positive term the Muslims had of the British. So it means that the positive meanings of this particular term was explained by Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, which cleared the minds of the British, and they became a bit softer towards the Muslims. Wrote rebuttal of an English book on the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him's life, corrected errors concerning the life of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and Islam. Tried to convince the British that their Islamic knowledge was limited and needed to improve upon it to remove the misconceptions. There was a British book. In that book, there were given the really very much negative impacts of the lives of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there were many errors in that book, and that book was particularly creating a greater trouble among the Muslims of the subcontinent regarding the British attitude. So what was thought, that to clear up that this book was wrong and it should be corrected and should be cleared up, that the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not like that as it was portrayed in that book. So Sir Syed gave the rebuttal to that English book. He corrected the errors in that book, and he tried to clear the misconceptions and the misunderstandings towards the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the minds of the British. The next point is, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan wrote a book, Tabayyunul Kalam, commentary on the Bible, pointed out similarities between Islam and Christianity. So this was another greater contribution, that, as you know, that the British, they were Christians over here in the subcontinent, and the Muslims, those who lost the rule over here in the form of the Mughal Empire. He wanted to bring both the major communities of the subcontinent, now I mean the rulers, the British and the Muslims, on a single platform by giving a commentary on the similarities between Islam and Christianity. This commentary was on the holy book of Christians, Bible. The name of the book Sir Syed wrote on this commentary, that is known as Tabayyun al-Kalam. This was incomplete, but shows his commitment in improving Muslim-British relationships. He was unable to complete that book, but still you can say that was a greater sort of effort by him. So he established British Indian Association, a platform where members of the both communities could interact with each other and discuss various issues, help to improve the level of understanding and cooperation between the two communities. So it means that it was a sort of organization he established, and in that organization there were the members from both the communities, Muslims and the British, those who used to sit over there and to discuss the mutual sort of issues, so that those issues should be resolved through the dialogues between them over there in that association. Again, a good effort by Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. He wrote another pamphlet, Ahkamat Ahle Kitab, containing the food laws for the Muslims in the light of Quran, told the Muslims that they were allowed in Islam to dine with Christians, urged upon them that they were closer to the British than the Hindus, who were reluctant to eat with the Muslims. So he gave the concept in this particular pamphlet that is known as the Ahkamat al-Kitab, that what were the ahkamat or the orders given by Almighty Allah to the communities who were having the holy books. So Sir Syed tried to convince the Muslims that they could dine with the Christians, but not with the Hindus, as the Hindus were purely non-believers and they were not the community of having any holy book. But the Muslims, they could sit together with the British much easier in comparison with the Hindus. So what he wanted to convey the Muslims, that they should be getting away from Hindus and they should be getting closer to the British, as the British, they were the book holders, holy book holders. But the Hindus, they were not. So it means that the British, they were the better choice for the Muslims to move on with them. So now the educational services of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan efforts to make Muslims acquire Western education. As you know that the British had arrived over here and they had taken over. So they established the British educational system over here by opening many of the schools and colleges over here in the subcontinent. So what he wanted the Muslims that they should be seeking the modern education, the Western education, English, and the modern worldly knowledge, so that they should be moving with the world rather than just having their own religious knowledge, but they should be moving along with the worldly knowledge of the British as well. So he launched a journal, a magazine, Tahzib Akhlaq. This journal included articles from influential Muslims who agreed with Sir Syed that there was a need for new approach regarding the education of the Muslims in the subcontinent. Some ulamas protested and criticized it, yet it played a major part in bringing about an intellectual revolution among the Muslim thinkers. As the Muslims were having the limited knowledge of the world at that time, they were far away from the scientific education. So what Sir Syed wanted, that the Muslims should be seeking the modern knowledge of the world to have the better understanding and to have the better relations with the British as well. So he established scientific society at Ghazipur and then translated scientific writings from English, Persian or Arabic into Urdu, the main language of the Muslims at that time. Now the Muslims' knowledge of science was improved, helped reduce Muslims' hatred towards the British as they read about the scientific work and realized that they were more than just invaders but had done a lot for humanity through scientific inventions. So this is how he tried to clear up the minds of the Muslims, that they should be reading out the research work, the scientific inventions and other knowledge of the British, and that was translated into Urdu language from English, Persian or Arabic, so that to make those things available for the Muslims in their local language. So he founded school in Ghazipur and Moradabad. These efforts of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan showed his commitment towards the expanding educational opportunities for Muslims, as Muslims were reluctant to go to the British schools. That was a sort of double-sided point. Number one, the Muslims, they were reluctant to go to the British schools. They were not sending their kids to the British schools, as they were thinking that their kids might be converted to Christianity. On the other hand, the British, they were reluctant to open up the schools and colleges in the Muslim majority areas, as they were having a sort of fear that if British opens many of the schools over there in the Muslim areas, Muslims might be getting the modern education and they may get back to give the really very tough time to the British. So that's why it was a double-sided, that the British were not opening the schools for the Muslims and Muslims were not going to the British schools wherever they were. So he established Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental School at Aligarh in 1875. It was made into a college in 1877, provided Western and Islamic education on the pattern of English public schools, and eventually this particular institution, MAO school, became a university in 1920, about 22 years after the death of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, as Aligarh Muslim University. So it is still over there in India. So that was a greater service by Sir Syed Ahmed Khan to open up this institution for the Muslims to seek the modern knowledge. So benefits of Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental School for the Muslims: quality education for Muslims without going to British schools. Number one. Better job opportunities in the government departments for the Muslims through seeking education from MAO school. Then, symbol of unity for the Muslims in the absence of any political party. So this particular institution or the scientific society up over there, they were the sign of unity for the Muslims. Many future leaders of Pakistan, such as Liaquat Ali Khan, Ayub Khan, they all were Ali graduates. They studied over there in this Aligarh Muslim University. So it means that the future, in the 20th century of the subcontinent, 1990s onwards, the prominent leaders, they all and many of them, they were the Aligarh graduates, and they played their really very important role towards the Muslim rights and having the Pakistan movement ongoing. So this institution contributed the most for the creation of Pakistan. So you might be getting the question on this one as well in the Cambridge exams. So it also helps to improve British-Muslim relationship, as not only many British were teaching in this institute. It means that many of the British, they were hired to teach in MAO school, college or university, Aligarh University, and this brought the Muslims and the British closer together for the sake of improvement of the relations. The Muslims were in a better position to communicate with the British in their language and remove misconceptions and misunderstandings, as they were learning English language now in that institution. And after learning from that, they were able to convey their messages or their issues and concerns and to talk about their political rights in the better way to the British through this platform. So Mohammedan Educational Conference aimed to publicize the new educational methods being used at MAO. So this particular conference was helping to disseminate the educational methods, that how the MAO institution was going on, by publishing the educational methods to the larger audience. This helped improve Muslim educational standards. It played a major role in establishing a Muslim political platform in the days before the League was established, as it attracted famous orators and writers who discussed the political problems of the Muslims in India. So all those who were really very much concerned about the conditions of the Muslims at that time, they gathered at the platform of this Mohammedan Educational Conference and started thinking about the rights of the Muslims. In its 29th session on 30th of December 1906 at Dhaka, All India Muslim League was established, which was the founding party of Pakistan. So it means that Sir Syed Ahmed Khan's efforts, even after his death, was really very important, that the Mohammedan Educational Conference he established, that turned up into All India Muslim League, and through the platform of this political party, All India Muslim League, the Muslims were able to achieve Pakistan in 1947. So these were the services of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. So the questions about Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, that's why was Sir Syed Ahmed Khan considered as pro-British? Many of the ulamas in the subcontinent, they thought that Sir Syed Ahmed Khan was of the person of the British and he was playing from their side. Sir Syed Ahmed Khan saved the lives of many British women and children during the War of Independence. Since the Muslims were fighting against the British, this angered the Muslims and they started calling him pro-British, as he was saving the lives of the British over there in that War of Independence. Sir Syed wanted the Muslims not to fight against the British in War of Independence, as he believed that they would be easily defeated by the British, as the British were a superior power. Therefore, he was called the pro-British, as everyone thought that he was trying to declare the British powerful. So that's why he got that fatwa again, that he was playing from the British side. Muslims of the subcontinent believed that the British were invaders, whereas Sir Syed believed that the Muslims should accept that British were the rulers of the Indians now and should accept their ideas such as the Western education. Therefore, this angered the Muslims as they labeled him pro-British. So these were the three reasons. You can say that this was a 7 marks question, and it is having these much reasons, 3 reasons explained over here. There is no need to give these points while explaining the question. Just write 3 paragraphs and the answer would be done. Why did Sir Syed Ahmed Khan establish the Aligarh movement? The British considered the Muslims guilty for the 1857 uprising. So after the war, the British started the policy of repression against the Muslims. Sir Syed wanted to end this policy. He thus started the movement to strengthen relations between the Muslims and the British by removing doubts of the British and Muslim loyalty. Muslims considered the British as only invaders and did not accept cooperation with them. Sir Syed Ahmed Khan believed that Muslims should accept the British. They were the rulers and they should accept the British ideas now, and they should accept that the British were having the Western education, the better one. So they could improve the social and economic relations, which will enable them to take jobs in the civil services and military. The Hindus of the subcontinent were progressing socially, politically, and economically due to their cooperation with the British. This worried Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, as he believed that the Muslims would get dominated by the Hindus, and therefore he established the Aligarh movement to inform the Muslims about the Hindu threat and counter it, as the Hindus were progressing very rapidly in the fields of socially, politically, and economically. So what Sir Syed wanted, that the Muslims should also be competing in the same way. Why did Sir Syed Ahmed Khan try to improve the British-Muslim relations? The British considered the Muslims the responsible for the war. So Sir Syed wanted to overcome this misunderstanding in the minds of the British. So he wanted that the policy of repression should be minimized and Muslim loyalty should be accepted by the British. And then the Muslims considered British as the foreign invaders. That concept should be cleared up. Again, explained in the previous question as well. Sir Syed Ahmed Khan feared that the Hindus, they were progressing. So he wanted that the Muslims should also be progressing. So again, why did Sir Syed Ahmed Khan insist the Muslims to acquire modern or Western education? Sir Syed Ahmed Khan asked the Muslims to acquire Western education so that Muslims should be getting the civil service job, because now language of administration was English, leading to improve their social and economic conditions. The Hindus received education from British schools, which improved their confidence, and they viewed illiterate Muslims as inferiors. This worried Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, and he wanted that the Muslims should also be competing in the same manner. Sir Syed Ahmed Khan believed that Quran stressed upon the knowledge and exploring the universe. Therefore, Western education of science was in line with the Quranic teachings. So he emphasized upon Muslims to acquire education to understand the full majesty of God as the universe creator. Why did Sir Syed Ahmed Khan develop two-nation theory? First, Urdu had the official language of India for many years. However, the Hindus wanted it changed to their language to Hindi. This view was not liked by the Muslims, as Urdu was their main language. This provoked Sir Syed Ahmed Khan to give his two-nation theory, that is Urdu-Hindi controversy of 1867. So that led to the emergence of two-nation theory, the Urdu-Hindi controversy. Secondly, the Hindus wanted parliamentary system in India. Sir Syed, however, rejected this by saying that the Hindus were in majority. They wanted to dominate the Muslim minority by winning every election. That is why Sir Syed Ahmed Khan advocated his two-nation theory and portrayed the idea that the Muslims were a separate nation and they should be given the separate identity in the subcontinent. Thirdly, The Congress spoke of open competitive examinations for the government jobs. However, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan rejected this as Muslims were not educated enough to pass these examinations, and so most of the posts would be taken over by the educated Hindus. Therefore, he tossed the coin of two nation theory. He wanted that the Muslims should also be in the administrative services, but with the relaxed sort of exam conditions for the Muslims, so that they should be competing in those exams against the Hindus. So here are certain past paper questions of this particular topic, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, and I will put on the answers of few of these 7 marks or 14 marks questions in the in my drive, and along with this video description you will get that link over there, and you can download the answers to these questions over there, and you can prepare yourself for this particular topic of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. And this was all about for today. That is the services of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan for the sake of the revival of the Muslim rights in the subcontinent. I will put a few of the sample questions from this one, and this is the end of section 1 of the history and culture of Pakistan, and I have few 4 marks questions over here, like who was Aurangzeb, what was jizya tax imposed by Aurangzeb, and who were Marathas, who was Shivaji, and who was Robert Clive, and describe the Battle of Buxar, Battle of Plassey, like 4 markers. I mean, part A of each question. I will share this document as well in the drive for you people to get it downloaded for the sake of your preparations, and you'll get these notes from my side as well. So this is all about from my side today. Do not forget to subscribe, like, watch, share, and comment on my videos. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.